Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Valhalla Esports League Division 1 Championship. It's time to crown ourselves a champion and send a team off to Orlando. Myself, Llama77, joined by Nightmare, up here in the booth here tonight. Nightmare, how you doing, and what can we expect from today's matchup?
Honestly, we're going to be having some very close games. Both teams are very well established and welcomed to this championship game, as we do see bans and picks already chosen. Both teams really locking on in. It seems like we're going to go ahead and have a bit of a shakeup when it comes to the meta. We have a Hulk pick right away.
Yeah, a Hulk kind of there. We've got Daredevil, who's got some of the newer changes. Some of those bouncing combos have been limited overall. And then Psylocke going to be locked as well. So a lot of upfront damage picked away from CBC Esports, from PISD. They're kind of going the other way. I love the Penny selection to get a little bit more ground control for their overall composition.
Ooh, it does seem like we were looking at the picks just a little bit later. They did swap last second, so we can go ahead and notice that they do end up having both mag picks. Of course, such a prime tank at the moment, S tier, even if you're going to go ahead and look at the fact that he can go ahead and give those shields off to people, right? It's very easily now making those picks like Angela even safer.
Like the front line, I think, for CBC. Obviously, the Psylocke, they locked it in. The Daredevil for themselves as well. They've got a lot of backline damage. If you're not careful about those wraps and careful about what they can do, they can make fights very tense. We are starting over on Spider Islands in Convoy in map number 1. We should mention it is a best of 5 or first to 3, whichever terminology you prefer.
Absolutely, as we're going to go ahead and look at CBC holding on strong while Cake Chopper is already half HP going on into the back line. We do have Wicked Duck already trying to go ahead and build up their support ult, as well as we do, I believe, have a spectator bug with the Punisher sitting there casually shooting on his turret, unfortunately. But does go ahead and get some damage on in. Neither team has given up quite yet, trying to go ahead and find that pick, while Daredevil does fall to his stylish friend on Punisher. They are going ahead and fight forward as Risky Jagger does get that first kill.
I like the idea you use the BRB beacon a little bit early, but for CBC, they just aren't able to break through this corridor quite yet. Finally, Spirit's so based will find something, a takedown on the other side, maybe the start they needed. Obviously, for CBC, they're starting on the defensive side, so every takedown they get is a little bit less effective just because they don't have that spawn advantage, but they are driving forward and already the ultimate utilized.
And one person does go ahead and fall on PISD as the Punisher is punished. And we do have the CYA go ahead and dropped, and Wicked Duck does have their own support ult as well with the Eternal Bond. Still, the cart has not moved quite enough for either team to really go ahead and give up this corner, as Angela trying to go ahead and dive down, find that perfect ult, but is immediately sparking the Eternal Bond, while we do have Meteor M Hubbard trying to go ahead and find that Cloak and Dagger, and does so as they have 3-4 fall, and eventually do have the Butterfly ult going off, but does not find anyone as it forces lamps. No one ends up falling except for the Psylocke herself, as CBC has to regroup. PISD getting plenty of advantage.
Yeah, nice push, right? I mean, they've already got about 2/3 of the way towards this checkpoint. Each one of those checkpoints give you more time added to your time bank that you can keep pushing and keep trying to set the tone. Obviously, for CBC, they're playing on the defensive side, so they'll have to try and just play the best they can now. And once again, the team fight sort of falling off their way. They lose the rocket first, which removes the ability to resurrect, and now they're into a 6v5.
Yep, Angela looking with that perfect Heaven's Retribution ulti, but actually is forced to go away as the Devil is let out, trying to go ahead and find a counter assault. 2 people have fallen for PISD, but Pig Chopper is looking for more as another falls, and another 2 for Matt Murdock, trying to go ahead and find yet again Angela, but does not do so, and it stops the push from PISD.
Keeps him right at the goal line. This is really tough now. PISD, they are going to push forward here, but they don't have the cart, so they're going to have to walk forward into all of this open space where they are just getting pelted down by everything CBC is throwing at them. And boy, they've only got 60 seconds left to go. They've got to win a fight here.
Absolutely, it's going to come down to one big ult or even just team fight in general. We do have Risky Jagger having that Punisher ultimate, looking to go ahead and force it forward. His team is going to go ahead and give them plenty of damage, but still not finding quite an opportunity to go ahead and cast it, as we do have the Eternal Bond forcing the issue on the enemy team. Both trying to really go ahead and make sure that this ends right now. We do have either team really popping every ult. We even have Cake Chopper looking for that exchange, but ends up almost falling. Ends up 3 fall for CBC.
Man, that Punisher is just so deadly. Brings out the final judgment and judges them dead. This should get them up to the checkpoint unless this contest can change things. A couple of extra KOs knocked on top of everything else, and it looks like Prosper is rolling here. They'll get an extra bonus 2.5 minutes before the overtime timer fuse hits.
And actually, their comp is going to get a bit stronger here on that corner, giving Angela plenty of opportunities to go ahead and get those knockoffs against CBC. Cake Chopper is really going to go ahead and have to find that flank with the Devil let out in one moment. Both the DPS actually have them, so they can be a little bit more offensive. Unfortunately, they do have their tank falling off, and it seems like a Flame Pet is actually going to go ahead and fall off as well, but it does go ahead and get res with plenty of time. Actually, they have so many ults already, able to go ahead and build space for their team.
I mean, there's threat on either side, right? This is a chance for both teams to really bash heads right in the center of things. Butterfly's going to come out and targeting the back line. The Psylocke does get one, and Cal is the first to fall. Slash and Dash can't get back to victory, but the damage has already been done. The consistent damage of Punisher has been blown out of the water, and still with the Daredevil ultimate, they push forward. CBC doing a really good job of holding them off the payload.
Absolutely, they actually only have a little bit under 1.5 minutes left. They still have half of the point to go ahead and push as they're using the Heaven's Retribution in tandem with a Horn of Proteus, trying to go ahead and find some sort of angle, which just enforce the Devil to be let out and the Eternal Bond, as well as both teams try to go ahead and give each other ults. But we do not have either team going ahead and faltering, as we do have Meteor M going on up, looking to go ahead and find the backline, as the Psionic Seduction does find a couple. 4 fall for PISD, 3 falling in tandem for CBC. Both teams really giving it their heart out here.
This is a phenomenal map, number 1. I'm just excited to see what the map is going to be if this is a best of 5 and they're already battling this hard between each other. For CBC, importantly, like you mentioned, using a lot of those duelist ultimates. We'll have to see if Cake Chopper can get it back online, but they were chunked down early and had to back up.
They do still have the Rocket ult to go ahead and work in tandem with that Asteroid M, but does not find an opportunity to go ahead and save that Magneto. PISD is looking to go ahead and walk on forward with that Loki copy on the Luna ult, buffing the damage from the Punisher to go ahead and find that backline, forcing so many to go ahead and walk on out, getting plenty of space for their team and getting plenty of progression on the card.
I mean, that Punisher ultimate has won them overtime fights now in back-to-back sessions, but the fuse is lit. They've got to win another one. CBC has to be careful to not stagger out and send in their tanks first. It's going to be important that they pop this Psylocke ultimate at the correct time.
Absolutely, as it goes ahead and forces the lamps from Loki. We do see the Horn of Proteus go off as well. The Devil is let out yet again, as Matt Murdock is actually able to go ahead and find quite a few to go ahead and add to his list. Going ahead, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fall, as Fried Pickles tries to go ahead and build up their hold on to the point, maybe build time for his team to go ahead and build Portal, as we do have Fortnite changing over to the Strange, but doesn't port in time, as it does stop here.
Successful defensive effort here from CBC Esports, as Prosper will have to wait to change up on the other side to try and play a perfect side. I like the fight back, though, from proper ISD being able to win a couple of those late team fights. However, it was Ash QT gets the flow into the end, finds a huge Psylocke ultimate, and completely changes the entire landscape of not only this map, but maybe the series. CBC will now move to the offensive side, and if they can get to basically the second checkpoint marker, they'll walk away victorious.
Absolutely, and at the moment, we're noticing their comp in general is a bit more in that dive scenario with the it's seemingly proper responses from PSID looking with that penny. We're actually seeing they're looking at triple tanks over on their side with that singular DPS on the Moon Knight, which can go ahead and do plenty of damage right on a well. We do have some different changes on CBC side, even on the group too. Oh,
They love
I
faking us
say
out,
that.
don't they?
I say that as they're really trying to decide what they want to go ahead and do. It seems like it's either going to go ahead and be a triple heal, or it's going to go ahead and be some sort of change up in the tank lineup to go ahead and build space for that dive potential from the Psylocke and the Daredevil. But the Penny, it's going to be a tough one to go ahead and counter here.
Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised that Prosper didn't build up the Penny in that last set of the map when they started on their attacking side, because they locked this in ban phase, so was trying to sort of play against that dive composition that CBC had built up, and now they've got a chance to do exactly that. Again, Prosper needs to deny CBC from getting to about that second checkpoint marker, denoted by that gold marker up top.
As we say that, Fried Pickle able to go ahead and find a quick, cheeky kill on over with their mines, right? Going ahead and stop the aggression from the Daredevil, and in fact forces Cake Chopper to go ahead and swap up their play and go onto Star-Lord, as we do have Flame fall off into the front line. No one's really having that angle to go ahead and pop those penny nests.
No one has the range, no one has the space. Maybe Cake Chopper can do it from above, and it will be Risky Jagger revived away here. So back alive into a 6v6, and with an ultimate available from Moon Knight, it can be so tough to try and take space, take Stone away, as it's already too straight. They'll freeze him down as Duck tries to pop the ultimate to keep him alive, but just sends themselves to the back line. All the while, Flame finds two. A good battle back, but the damage needs to be followed up with more, because Prosper's got another ultimate straight to your face. Jay Mooney trying to go at him, and it's enough damage to chunk the backline, but doesn't stall them one bit.
Fried Pickle looking to go ahead and use their ult in tandem with their team, but many have already fallen off to the opposing Psionic Seduction. Even Ash Q is able to go ahead and get a pick off with the Punisher, as they're forcing off Magneto on Magneto Violence over in the corner. Able to go ahead and get the cart seemingly to the first point, right as they go ahead and force the ulti from Penny, who unfortunately doesn't get to touch the cart and does not allow time for the team's portal to go on through. Actually just has it wasted for those 3 minutes, and now it's going to be up to them to go ahead and find a better position with their Penny.
And they've got to try and find it fast, because CBC has got 4.5 minutes to try and charge their way to a map number 1 victory. It starts out well. Fried Pickle is able to take down one on the other side, and that's one of the divers in the Star-Lord. With the ultimate, it means Cake Chopper will have to wait. They root up Spirit So Based, and that's going to be the health bar disappearing, so a lot of the heal is used here early as well.
Absolutely, and we're noticing that they do have a bit of changes on over. Fortnite does have his ult with the Asteroid M. Really long looking, and they do find a pick over on Cake Chopper. Able to go ahead and find plenty of damage on him. Ash Q is looking to go ahead and not fall, and in fact is getting picked on up. They force both support ults, Fate of Both Worlds, and we do see the Rocket ult as on tandem with it. We have every tank ult being used as well, really trying to find that last bit of opportunity. There's still 3.5 minutes left on the clock. They really want both teams to give up on time, but it does not seem to go ahead and do so, as we do have the Eye of Agamotto hit 2 in the back, including the rockets, and he gives up his life.
The problem is Cake Chopper is just ripping them. I mean, with these low health bars, just picking up everything alongside Flame's ultimate. That's a double kill attack on top. And quickly, Prosper is going to have to go. Look at all of his backline damage, chunks him down, stones him away, and it is just a few meters down to nothing. CBC Esports victorious on map 1.
And that was a really, really fast push in their terms of tempo. They had such a good offensive strategy before, but it was just a bit too difficult for them to go ahead and combat the aggression from all of the poke on the other side. It seems like CBC, apologies, is going to go ahead and have this game here with Cake Chopper having the MVP over on the Star-Lord.
I mean, I feel like for Cake Chopper, that's pretty impressive too, just because of how deep the overall hero pool was for them, able to play so many different things from the Daredevil to the Star-Lord, two very different playstyles, and walks away with 11 final hits, 25 elims, and only single-digit deaths as well. So the overall accuracy feels good, and I think from CBC, setting the tone, it felt like over on that reverse side, when they were able to attack first, when they were able to set things up, and then just charge their way in. For Prosper, obviously the series is not over. It's a best of 5 for a reason, but if you lose the next one, now all of a sudden, you'll have to pull off that reverse sweep.
And I do like that they were trying a lot of different picks here, trying to see which would work. At the end of the day, they are just trying to go ahead and fish for that answer, not only for this game, but for the rest of the series. So I imagine that this is more so a test run, and we're going to see an even harder fight on this next map.
Going to be a good one. Map number 2 is on the horizon. It's going to be a domination guaranteed, but which map we're going to is still yet to be decided, as of course our teams will actually get to decide which and where we're going to go.
And it does seem like it's going to go ahead and be our domination maps as well. So that is going to have a quick effect on the actual comps, right? Both teams, it's important to note, actually saved even a Namor at one point, and then they actually banned the hell on the other. A bit, of course, the penny was sparkled on into this game. There's some picks that are just stronger in terms of domination in general. So I'm honestly very excited to go ahead and see what both teams are going to have in store for us.
I think it's exciting, right? And the changes that are needed to be made here, it's not small, but it's also something where you don't want to overcorrect. You don't want to challenge yourself back into something that's going to work in your opponent's favor that you haven't been practicing all season long. I mean, from a coaching perspective, I know you've been sort of coaching some of these teams to victory. What does that feel like after you lose a game? What are you initially talking to with your team?
Honestly, it's something about trying to recollect yourself. It's just one game. Of course, we're talking about here a best of 7. There are just certain moments where you can even ask yourself, man, I could have been a little bit quicker on the actual button click, or I could have just moved a little bit slyly into the backlines. It's just a matter of trying to really recollect yourself and ask, is there anything that needs to be changed in terms of bans, picks? It's really just being open-minded as a team. And at the moment, they have plenty of opportunities to go ahead and do so. So I do believe that PISD is going to go ahead and do great here.
Always the chance to change things as we hop on into map number 2. Krakoa will be the opportunity, and domination. This will be map number 2, and we will guaranteed get ourselves a convergence, but if necessary, map 4 will be a domination, and map 5 will be a convoy. No maps can be repeated. That's the important thing to note as well.
No. And we do have some nice hovers on both sides. They do end up banning the penny, noting how strong that would have been on this map, banning Cap in tandem because of his ult change, right? Giving that 30% ult charge for his teammates is something really useful and an easy stall. They actually go ahead and make sure to go ahead and save Cake Chopper's Daredevil. Such a huge pick in that last game.
Be interesting too to see if CBC will go for a double lock towards Cake Chopper, because it was actually Daredevil and the Psylocke that they saved over from map number 1. If they do that again, obviously there's always the chance to just bolster up. Cake Chopper earned the MVP for a reason, but this team is built off of 6 players, and you wonder if maybe Prosper can play into that and pick something huge here in round 4.
And it's important to note that we do have Gambit being hovered. Gambit, such a huge pick in this game at the moment. It has changed the meta quite a bit, allowing such a huge kill threshold potential just for every single character in the game, including Daredevil. At the moment, with Flame hovering over on that Lord Gambit pick, we do have the actual magic ban. They are targeting really that dive comp potential, right? And then in turn, trying to save it. Save the type of threat that they have to go ahead and deal with that Namor ban.
I like the Namor ban. It feels pretty stock standard across almost every league now. And, you know, you mentioned the Gambit. It feels like one of the first sources of cleanse we're kind of getting in this game. And not only the ultimate, but the overall ability kit. And You know, CBC is going to pretty much replicate what they did back in map number 1 with a few changes. You mentioned that Penny ban away. You mentioned also the Namor selected for the ban phase, but they are going to double lock for Cake Chopper, putting full force in their Duelist MVP.
And it's important to know that they actually saved 2 important anti-dive picks with the Bucky and the Invis for PSID. They're making sure that they have some sort of response from the offense that's clearly being shown over on the enemy. We have the Punisher being banned away because of such a clutch moment in the last game, and the Star-Lord, which is going to work very well with those damage buffed players and or supports that are typically going to be picked at the moment, like we did see with the Rocket.
The Rocket, it gives you opportunity to get those reses, but sometimes, you know, it worked for CBC at times, but I think at some point, you put a big target on your back as someone that can bring someone back to life, that can make it kind of into a 7v6 when you use that extra life. But it's no true changes, and this time it's going to be Cake Chopper rocking the Daredevil, but it's going to be Ash QT picking up the Psylocke as well.
And they do end up having the Venom to go along with their team. We actually have a few different changes here when it comes to the fact that they actually locked in Hela. The Hela does not have her team up, but is a strong character in her own right. Does work quite well also with Bucky, right? Being able to go ahead and get plenty of splash damage, and her ult is just a huge zoner, especially on maps like these for domination. As we do see both teams go ahead and off to the point. Angela flying right on ahead. Fried Pickle trying to go ahead and give some information to his team. We do have Spirits so based going to go ahead and try to touch the point with the Venom, who is just seemingly trying to get the opposing information. Both teams have not touched, but are trying to go ahead and fight for the top side of the map as they're going ahead and drop. Risky Jagger almost gets picked, but does stop quite a bit of the aggression from Spirit. Forces him to go ahead and eat and dash away. Neither team really finding that angle until Cake Chopper does get picked. They do have plenty of opportunity now to go ahead and try to find a counter offensive, but has not had one yet as they try to go ahead and pick on the Bucky. Spirit being pushed away. Angela doing a great job of keeping him off of her backline. Hela looking to possibly trade on him and does so as they take his life. PSID really trying to go ahead and lock it down as they have every member touching the point, really pushing off CBC. Fried Pickle going on to the Invisible Woman and finds that crucial kill.
Nice start, nice finish to the fight. And honestly, going back to something you mentioned back in Draft Select, it's Fort 9 and the Bucky. It's those shotguns that deal with the backline dive so well and then turn the fight around straight on their head to be able to mobilize. You've got to win 2 sub-maps here if you want to win the map overall. CBC a little bit slower start. They're immediately going to swap to the Hulk.
And the Hulk is interesting because it does give them a bit of more offensive ability, but does give them that shield with those changes in the previous patches, being able to have it more frequently, giving more defensive abilities for his team. But Cake Chopper does end up getting kidnapped over by Angela and stops his assault as Hulk is looking to go ahead and further it, but unfortunately does get de-hulked, and we do have Bruce trading his life as well. Risk as the raccoon, as our backline does get dove on the Rocket. Unfortunately, every single one does end up falling on CBC. Cake Chopper actually swaps to the Spider-Man to try to make sure that he can find an angle into the backline, but also have some slick escapes.
This is the Risco. I mean, you run a very dive-heavy composition with no true front line. It's tough to play a front-to-back after those divers do get taken out. For Fort 9, they are joined by 4 other teammates with ultimates, and, you know, they could just press their buttons and run over this fight.
They have every ult on our defensive side. We have 80% on the clock. As they try to force it with the invisible boundary, they end up forcing the counter on their side. Heaven's Retribution being used by Angela to try to go ahead and keep the team together. We do have Kraken Impact going again and again as we continuously get resets, so many so that it cuts the frame. We have Spider-Man trying to go ahead and get his own picks, and does so finding Loki before he can get that clone off. They don't end up having any trade on position, but do proc overtime. Do they get the TP? No, they do not.
They kind of just put everything into that fight, and it didn't work. CBC tried a little tricky play at the start of that sub-map and just could not get the Venom to go, and then all of a sudden, they were so far behind in those ultimate charges that they never caught up. One of the interesting things, though, if maybe you're familiar with the Overwatch scene, where ultimates reset from sub-map to sub-map, it's very different here on Marvel Rivals. Things carry over, so all of those ultimates used in that last fight carry over. So if you didn't use them, like the 2 that Prosper kept in their inventory, it's going to be good for this first team fight looking on the next point.
Absolutely. And it's going to be crucial ones as well. We do have Cal on that Loki who can go ahead and get that slick copy onto his ally support, right? Giving them another invisible boundary, which we looking over on CBC does not have it. And in fact, it's on a lower charge. They only really do have the Cutterfly that can go ahead and try to jump onto the backline of Prosper, who does have Loki clones to kind of negate some of that damage.
I mean, it's so much backline defensive tools that it feels like for CBC, maybe a swap is coming, but you mentioned these are 2 very smart teams. Both went 6-1 to get here, so it's a good reason that they're ready to fight. Point doesn't unlock for 9 more seconds, but the player's yet to use any sort of ultimates, just trying to play off of the chip damage. Rash QT has an angle. The question is, do they want to use it? The early invisible berry here gives them 2 early KOs, and even with the bring back from CBC, their damage is just lackluster here in this fight. 4 brings the shotguns, and Prosper brings the fight to their knees.
CBC does have some swaps over on their picks. We're looking at a Phoenix now that can go ahead and maybe stop some of this frontal assault and even go ahead and get some slick bounces over onto the Loki. Might have a bit easier time doing a bit of splash damage and follow up on any sort of pick that they can have with a Chopper. Mooney doing a great job on the Emma, really zoning off any sort of plays from the Flames Magneto, trying to go ahead and touch. They almost have health, and in fact do, the opposing Emma, as they both look at each other, really trying to go ahead and hold the point. They do find a pick over on Prosper. CBC trying to go ahead and make sure that they can contest with 40% already queued up. They do find a pick, as Fork does find 1, looking for 2, trying to go ahead and uppercut onto the Daredevil. Actually goes ahead and crack an impacts, but it's met with an invisible boundary, trying to stop any of his resets. But we do have the Rocket ulti trying to go ahead and link up with his team. Heaven's Retribution being able to go ahead and lock them up, but unfortunately does go ahead and find that everyone on their team goes and falls. Slowly, CBC just continuously finds one after another, yet still has not gotten a trade on actual points. We have 70% still for Prosper, while CBC is trying to go ahead and lock in. The Psionic Seduction really trying to go ahead and lock down Ash Q, who's losing the tree to their fullest, really trying to play as skinny as possible. We do end up having a pick on to Flames Magneto. Mooney trying to make sure that they get this free points. Unfortunately, they don't do so until they get that pick onto the Phoenix.
I mean, with Phoenix down, they're going to try and go for Doctor Strange, get the portal, and do something. I mean, this is their last-ditch effort. Overtime already activated, 99%, and Cal earns another first blood out of the fight. The players are falling through the portal, but the time is disappearing. Cake Chopper at least gets one back on the Spider-Man, but the damage is nowhere to be found. Raccoon is in the grave, and the Hela ultimate earns 2 and tacks on another. Prosper has tied up this series.
I said it. I thought that they would go ahead and get those changes on in, and they did. They met them with the proper defensive options, that nice utility to go ahead and stop any sort of aggressive frontal assault from things like Daredevil, even things like the Sidelock, forcing a lot of swaps around. I'm curious to note if we're going to go ahead and get the same respect from CBC.
I mean, there's got to be a lot of changes, I feel like, for them, because although Cake Chopper was finding some of those final hits, only ended up with 5 overall kills. So Prosper made a lot of really good changes. I love their bans. And we'll have to see what CBC does to try and adapt, because now we're into map number 3 where someone is going to find series point first.
Yep, it does seem like we're going to go ahead and have a chance to go ahead and go and look over at both of these teams yet again shortly. Let's see. We do have the next actual opportunity to go ahead and talk about how they could have changed quite a bit. Obviously, you did talk about their bans. They did have Cake Chopper's Spider-Man that kind of played off. I'm curious if they're going to do the saves differently as well, to be honest. Do you think that they're going to go ahead and get those respect bans, or are there going to be a change overall? Because it seems he's a very particular kind of player and only plays dive at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like they just need to either change up a little bit in how their playstyle is going, because I think the dive works, but I just think they need a little bit more front to back. They need something with a shield, something that the supports can survive and play around, because the problem isn't Cake Chopper. Cake Chopper earns another SVP alongside the MVP award from map number 1. The problem is just that players like XTO Diff and Duck are dying early on because they have nobody to protect them. So you either have to take out something like the Hela or like the Bucky that was cutting you down, or you have to find something that can adapt your composition just a little bit.
You know, as we're getting some information, as it does seem like we're going to go ahead and maybe get a substitution. It does seem like we're going to get one for CBC's X to Diff. We're going to go ahead and get a support change. Maybe different kind of hero pool that might be a bit more have a bit more responses to what they're playing against at the moment. I would like to note the things that I want to go ahead and see CBC pick here. Something like the Moon Knight that could go ahead and bounce off those Loki clones, really force the engagement on the enemy quite fast. Obviously, this does change between things like Convoy and Domination, but it's such a more niche, aggressive pick that is not going to go ahead and be threatened with the bans like that. So I'm curious to note if they do have something like that in the pocket.
Yeah, I think the only interesting thing would be do you have a Jeff one trick sitting on your bench and you're rubbing your hands together for this moment right here where you're like, okay, Jeff, it's your time. Let him off the leash and try and do it. I'm excited to see, because that could be a support ban, or it could be maybe we're just going to get role swaps altogether. That could change the complete momentum of what this team is putting forward.
No, absolutely. And that's the thing that's so cool about Marvel Rivals is they could go in and have that game plan and they can just swap it up, because they can go ahead and get those key heroes swapped right on into the game at a moment's notice. Maybe play one for a particular section of the map even. You're noting about Jeff, who's really, really good on maps where he can go ahead and get them off of it, either going ahead and jumping off with them or just being able to shoot them out of his gullet. But as we're looking to go ahead and load into our next game right here, they did have Symbiotic Surface on Clintar. We do have our first convergence map. This is an oldie but a goodie.
Yeah, I like this one. I mean, you mentioned different chances, different forms of way to attack this one. But it's interesting because this is sort of another payload map similar to our Convoy start, and that is actually where CBC found so much of their success. So you wonder, with these longer corridors, these more front-to-back team fights with angles to greed and angles to go and attack the backline, maybe that benefits CBC. I think the worst result here for CBC would to see another map loss go in a row, because that would be Prosper going 2 unanswered maps straight against you, and you'd have to do that to them if you want to try and go to Orlando, Florida.
And I like this adaptation, going ahead and banning the Bucky that was giving them such difficulty and is a counter to Magic, who they then go ahead and save. But in response is immediate save for Penny, which they forgo the ban for, who is also a good counter dive character. Banning the Star-Lord, which can go very well with so much of the damage boost that we did talk about. But they ban the Angela, such a key displacer, and actually works really, really well with Penny, being able to go ahead and kidnap them into the Penny mines, really freeing her, getting kills and ult charge for Penny.
Yeah, I like the ban, especially because, I mean, it was such a thorn in your side on that previous domination map where you were just losing supports because of that. Because they didn't have any frontline protection, it was that dive straight to the face. So the Star-Lord is a little bit interesting, just kind of tells me that, you know, they're not really scared of what Cake Chopper has in their hero pool and decides to try and ban the front line. I think the Wolverine is actually a pretty interesting ban to follow things up.
Oh, it absolutely is, but it's such a key ban into the Penny, just because so many of them are scared about being kidnapped out of their nests, right? It is a common counter for her. In a lot of cases, at least in solo queue, unsure if they actually play it, but Cake Chopper has played quite a few melee characters, so odds are that they might have it in their pocket. We do actually have some interesting hovers, as we do maybe see the Hulk going in line with them, and even the Iron Fist lock-in to go ahead and possibly match what they believe is going to be the magic, I presume, as they had saved it. Yeah, it's actually very, very even more interesting to note that the Penny isn't on defense.
Yeah.
She's pushing.
Yeah. It feels like Prosper, although they're going to be kind of walking away from some of those penny nests, I think they're okay with that just for the value it provides on the anti-dive. However, this time around, Cake Chopper is going to be running the Moon Knight, so a little bit of kind of mixture of dive and just straight up damage. And, you know, we were wondering what was going to happen with their sub. They bring in a new strategist. G Fetty is going to be playing the Luna Snow.
They're actually going to go ahead and start the game off with ATP, making sure off on the top side, giving that really crucial angle for the Penny, actually. So we can go ahead and build up a nice nest. They're actually going to get that swap off so they can go ahead and make sure to get in, with the team really soon, going on to the Hulk, being able to jump back with their team. This portal tech, being able to go ahead and give 5 players the opportunity to be as offensive as possible while they do have that last straggler really coming back on in, as we do have Risky trying to get those really high angles for his team. Cake Chopper spots him and is trying to force him out, getting some nice bounces on the Penny, who's trying to bunker in their own side, who's completely flipped the map. Fried Pickle looking to get those nice nests over on their side. Again, really trying to force as much as they can on CBC side to really get them off of the point, but everyone's just playing around it. It's been 1 minute so far and no progression. We have them using as much as possible, building their ults. We even have the Moon Knight dropping Khonshu, who I thought almost misclicked, but actually gets one. Ends up getting Risky and ends up getting another as well on Fried Pickle's side. This flip was not working at all for them, and they're still down their TP, so they will end up having it about a minute before the timer goes down, but it was risk.
That feels better.
Yeah. I mean, sure it was, and for Prosper, unfortunately, the risk got eaten alive from their side because now they don't have that portal back. Sure, they've got Final Judgment available, which is a ton of damage, but that magic has been dealing issues, and that blade, that ultimate is charged up and ready to go, and with EOR5 already down, you wonder if you just wait for that 6-member to come back before you try and push this.
Absolutely, but they do have the very common team up with the Punisher ult, being able to go ahead and get bubbled with the Magneto, which is what they're waiting on for, I believe. They're trying to go ahead and make sure that they have every ult for this fight, as we do have the Magic, who's playing very aggressively, making sure that she does give the space for her team. We do know who the Magic main is here, who's going to go ahead and try to look for an opportunity to ulti over in the back corner. Does not feel as threatened as I thought to go ahead and do so, as we do have Hulk raging in the backline, really trying to go ahead and give him the space. We do still have a minute and 30 on the clock and no progression, as we do have the invisible boundary off for the team. The living tree for the Iron Fist going off just barely, as well as we do have Magic finally falling, unable to go get her ulti off. G Fetty falls as well. We still have 1 minute on the clock for both teams. Wow, we have yet to have a single actual spot, and as I say that, they get 1/3 of it. 1 minute left on the clock.
Spent a lot of time to do it, but I really love the resurrections that go down there late in the fight. It's the res from Cal that keeps Risky Jaeger back alive, and Ash QT is going to try and slash back in, bringing out the Child of Dark. Cake Chopper going to try and pop the hand of Kanju, and the damage is good. A double kill already for the Magic. Slicing and dicing everything down to the low ground as the Rocket trades their life for their Moon Knight. Cake Chopper will stay as the health bars dwindle from the Prosper side. They try and go long range, but they are just out of time here in a fight that they must win.
But their timer did reset for their portal. They were actually able to go ahead and portal on the backside. It's again flipped, and actually CBC does not realize this before 3 end up falling. They do end up having that res, but there's still plenty of time for them as they end up getting the cart for Prosper. Rocket really trying to build up that ulti. They're walking them down slowly, getting a good amount of space.
Yeah, what I love about that is you're able to take not only more space, but give yourself some great ultimate charge and sort of boost your momentum. It's only 2.5 minutes left to go. It's only the bonus you got from unlocking the card that you have to get until that second checkpoint. For Prosper, though, looking very good, and this is a good tone setter if you can win a few more fights.
Absolutely, as we do have a lot of crucial ults on both sides, as we do end up a pick on Magneto. CBC looking to have to walk back. Gfetti ends up getting picked before they can go ahead and dance for their team. Only one ult for CBC as they're desperately trying to hold this corner. Still, out 2 minutes, under 2 minutes on the clock. We do have Hulk trying to go ahead and build up space, trying to make sure that he has plenty of time for his team to go ahead and do so. They do have 5 ults on Prosper's side. Really trying to go ahead and make sure that they have this point. They have Invisible Boundary, Asteroid M. They're dropping Punisher's ult. Slowly having to be walking back as Gfetti made sure to go ahead and lock down their ulti this time with double support ults. They end up having Seduction as well. 4 end up falling for Prosper.
I mean, CBC, just love to see their patience there at the end of that team fight. Although 10 ultimates are popped in total towards the end of things, CBC saves the one that matters. The invisible barrier is survived all the way until the end. They play off of it, they use the cart for protection, and they deal some really good damage. Just survivability is nice, and it's cut the Prosper time down to under 60 seconds with only 1 ultimate to go.
And Fried Pickle feeling that pressure as they have to go ahead and swap to the Venom, really trying to make sure that they can join in on that backline dive against CBC, as they do have the Moon Knight fall, as we do end up having Darkchild used, trying to go ahead and build space, but does not do so in time. Actually has to back up, but builds plenty of HP, really trying to work this corner, and is doing a great job of it, but did not find any crucial kills. Punisher is playing great onto the top of the cart, as Mooney building and pushing their ult, looking for that opportunity to rip it. Might do so here as they're trying to go ahead and make sure that this last point makes it, the cart makes it to the last point, rather. There's 5 seconds left on the clock. They're going to go ahead and proc overtime. Both supports ripping their ults. They do end up having Hulk hulking out, trying to smash and crash his way through onto the enemy supports. Rocket desperately looking for the backline and his team to go and heal them, but ends up getting exiled and hit purely in the face. Overtime proc, but there is not enough time for them to go ahead and stop it. They will get to point 2.
I mean, the consistency in these late overtime fights from PISD is just insane to see. I mean, Risky Jaeger gets 2 kills without even popping the ultimate, just finds the backline, eats them apart, and now they are on the final surge to try and finish off a successful attacking side. They've only got 1 minute and 10 seconds to do it, but I mean, look at the ultimates available.
They do have the Darkchild opportunity to maybe find a bit of aggression and standstill for their team, but the G is looking to be let out here as 4 is looking to do so in collaboration with that Rocket ulti. Actually procs Eternal Bond from Gfetti, who has a crucial wave onto the Punny, who is not able to go ahead and get the pick, almost actually headshots her. We do have Darkchild, but they get exiled before they can get that spin, but end up doing so very late on it. You have EOS falling, and 3 fall for Prosper. They have 20 seconds left. They can go ahead and TP. Cake Chopper actually is on tank now. They have 3 tanks for CBC. Really trying to work this clock now.
There's 4 ultimates too from CBC's side, so at this point they can just hold them off until the timer hits overtime and then just try and win one more. Hulk is definitely going to be a problem. There goes the Chi and there goes the Judgment. That's a lot of damage, so supportive ultimates go. They've got that barrier to hold them off, and the Eye of Agamotto will stand them still in place while Cake Chopper rips them down with the overall hits. It's going to be Mooney trying to fight themselves back, but the health ballers are falling apart around him. The Hulk is not big enough for this team fight, and Prosper, although they made it a whole checkpoint and a half, this is looking like where their journey ends.
Oh, they actually get the portal right on time as Fried Pickle was able to go ahead and swap on over to the Strange. They were able to go ahead and force their own invisible boundary and buy time for their team as they trying to go ahead and find an opening onto Flame, and they do so. Find a pick right away. The Eternal Bound onto G Fetty, able to go ahead and go onto the backside, forcing Lamps from the Loki, who ends up actually falling, unfortunately. EOS also does so as 3, 4, 5, 6 fall with each spin. The Dark Child was let out perfectly onto the enemy team, and they were able to go ahead and stop it at 2 with 78 meters.
It's a pretty good attacking side from Prosper, and I will say that could have very easily been not even a cart unlock for how many close team fights there were right on the edge. And for CBC, they are going to have to do phenomenal on their own attacking side. They know where the bar is set. They know how far they have to get, but they've got to get themselves in a better position, because if not, I mean, Knight, we already talked about this. Prosper is not only on a tear, but if they win this next map, all of a sudden they're on series point.
And they're actually looking to go ahead and use the tried and true Brute and Moon Knight combo. Ooh, I say that, but they go ahead and swap to with seemingly 3 tanks, which is common, but they do still have 1 DPS. This is not GOATs per se, but it could be close to it enough. We do have 4 on the Moon Knight and the Groot, as I mentioned. Really good combos. They did forgo the triple tanks, so that's all fine, but they do have a lot of ways for them to go ahead and work together. They have the buff from Rocket for the Punisher. They have the Moon Knight to work with Groot. And of course, S tier support in the Invisible Woman. So I do think that they're going to have quite a setup here for CBC.
A pretty good setup, and that Invisible Woman is very good. Often considered one of the best right now just because of that ultimate and what it provides to your team fight. But there's a chance here that they can just hold the line, be able to get themselves to the back line exactly like Prosper did. But with all of those nests down on the ground, it is going to be almost impossible to navigate this without some long-range damage. So maybe kind of relying on that Moon Knight and the Punisher combination to chunk down some of these laners as Cake Chopper continues to deliver as they fall below half.
Cake Chopper having swapped on over to the Moon Knight themselves, trying to go ahead and build out the ult, but it's actually down a significant percentage when it comes to it because of the way that they have to walk on in, and actually falls to the opposing Moon Knight's construct. Flame is looking to follow suit, but gets healed over by G Fetty. Wicked Duck looking to go ahead and ulti possibly, but unfortunately does not find the opportunity to do so. Prosper is doing a very nice hold here. 3 minutes left on the clock as they go ahead and go and walk on in. They're really needed to flank.
Yeah, it feels like CBC just kind of ramming their head at a brick wall right now and hoping something changes. They've got 2 ultimates built up. The problem is Risky Jaeger has been playing an MVP performance in map number 3. A beautiful Groot wall slides things down. Here comes the Penny ultimate, delivering even more spiderwebs down to the low ground as CBC just recoils, backs up, and a KO earned straight onto Spirit So Based.
And Fried Pickle doing a great job of having multiple avenues locked up with all these penny mines. Almost finds themselves lost to the Khonshu, but does get healed by their invisible boundary. Is not afraid of actually holding the point with Nest, which is crucially down.
They end up using their ult on Cal's side. Prosper has lost 2, including both their supports and Moon Knight, who are going to try to run on back. They have ran the clock a decent amount, but there is just a little bit under 2 minutes. They might be able to go ahead and TP, which Mooney is looking to go ahead and do so on the top side, find that top angle, and maybe a pick even on the enemy supports. Almost does so before they end up getting bubbled. Fort ends up dropping their, tries to get their ulti, but does not do so. Cake drops theirs. One ends up falling, but they do end up getting the point.
They'll get themselves a card unlock with actually 4 minutes left to go and a very doable opportunity as some nice takedowns towards the aerial view. Cake Chopper puts up a no-fly zone sign, and for Prosper, you've got to be very careful that your Penny does not get isolated, and you have to wait even further to try and regroup. But because of that, CBC should be able to get about halfway through this checkpoint.
Penny needs time to go ahead and build up her nest and her bombs to really find those kill thresholds. Unfortunately, is not having time to do so, but does have her ult right here that does have a change with it, right? Of course, the webs give healing for their team. As I said, Donic Seduction is being used forcefully onto Prosper's side, but they do end up finding a pick onto the Moon Knight, who ends up getting res. We do have the Penny trying to go ahead and ulti, but gets choked and then falls for herself. They have the Dark Child trying to go off, but then immediately dies and then herself reses. Ash QT, unfortunately, was not able to go ahead and get that Dark Child off completely. Now, we do have the final judgment being ripped by the Punisher, which is met with an Asteroid M to the face. Mooney looking to go ahead and use their opposing Sardonic Seduction, but does not have a chance to go ahead and swap to their Diamond form in it, so does fall, as Ash QT is really trying to go ahead and force the issue here and get the point on 2. No one else is on the cart and are able to go ahead and point 2 with a little under 4 minutes.
I mean, this is so much time here. For CBC, they have got open grass in front of them. Now, they don't have too many ultimates, but they're definitely winning the ultimate economy battle. For Prosper, this is a map you need to win, especially because we are guaranteed at least one more map of a victorious CB South after this one. We'll see what Fort wants to do with the Hand of Khonshu, raining down from above here as CBC takes a lot of early chunk damage. Not only do they lose Cake Chopper, but Fort's able to double up the kills after. They're pushing for everything. Mooney's got another, as they've got a take back, as Prosper has found their fight, found the takedowns, and Risky Jaeger finally finding their footing.
And this is going to be a very hard choke or tunnel for them to go ahead and push on through because of Moon Knight. Those on bounces being able to go ahead and just stack together, you're freely just giving him so much damage and ult charge. That's why they're just being able to go ahead and Khonshu back at each other, but there's still plenty of time on the clock as Flame is looking for an opportunity to test the Sardonic Seduction to find that crucial pick. They do end up blowing up the mines that were there by Fried Pickle, but are going to be met with a Khonshu right now. There is a very crucial ulti from the Wicked Duck that saves his team, and we're looking to go ahead and deal with the final judgment, which unfortunately is put to rest while Risky is trying to come over on the other side, but is seduced with this seduction. Now, we do have one last pick onto Fried Pickle. They're trying to go ahead and make sure they desperately can touch. 2 minutes still left on the clock. CBC making sure that they're zoning perfectly and are able to go ahead and do so and make this a game.
How about G Fetty, though? I mean, coming from the bench, finds their way into some huge team fights and earns them a double kill in the map-winning team fight. CBC, with a huge burst of speed towards the end, find themselves the win. Cake Chopper finds themselves an MVP on sort of a different role on the other side of things. So overall, 44 eliminations in that short map. It is now CBC on series point. One more map victory, and they are headed to Orlando, Florida.
It's going to be such a bloodbath, and honestly, I cannot wait, and I hope this goes the distance. And honestly, it might, as we see both teams really making such crucial adaptations for each other game after game. It's going to be such an incredible series.
excited. I think that not only do we get the kind of shakeups going into a brand new map, obviously new bans that'll come with it, but we've also got ourselves another domination guaranteed. Domination is the only mode type that Prosper has actually won today, and if they win it, I mean, Knight, who doesn't love a full best of 5 going all the way to 5?
Yeah, absolutely. We have had both teams actually, as I said, adapt to the series, but that is such a crucial point that you've mentioned here. Being domination, they do run the penny. They do often run kind of aggressive TPs right away, right? So it does seem like that's why they have such good momentum when it goes to domination maps. Now that they do have the knowledge of what GFetti has been bringing to the table, I wonder if that either changes bans or even what they play. At the moment, they still have plenty of picks that are in the open, and I believe still Gambit available, but neither team chose it.
There's lots of different choices, I feel like, in adaptations. I think the one interesting thing is, of course, as we go longer in this series, you can't pick the exact same map, even though we go to the same mode. So Wakanda is going to be the selection. Krakoa was already taken off the board. And you know what? I don't hate it. I feel like a lot of the domination maps are kind of more similar rather than not.
Yep, there is a good amount of similarities amongst them. I guess rather than the waterfall section is just the only one that's a little bit different, maybe. But we are about to get into our next game, and I cannot wait to go ahead and see it. Honestly, Ash QT on the Magic was a nice change of pace, as we did see CBC changing up their saves, right? Instead of giving 2 saves for Cake Chopper, they made sure that he understood that he would have plenty of picks that might be either targeted at him or specific bans, but he just has a plethora of picks, it seems like, in the back pocket, so it's not necessary to do so. And then Ash QT is just a demon on Magic.
I mean, it feels like we haven't shouted out these players yet. I mean, again, these are high school players who are already more talented than I feel like I could ever get in my lifetime on the sticks, and showcasing their talent, not only with a chance to go even further to Orlando, but also getting to represent their schools. And I think that's pretty powerful, getting to put your name on your jersey, say we are battling for something bigger than ourselves. And for CBC, they've got a chance to bring their school's name all the way to a different state.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have the very first zone, and I'm curious to know what it is. It does change it a little bit. As we noted how certain picks are affected by domination, I'm really want to see Jeff here. They do very quickly save the Magic that worked so well for them on CBC side as they defend the Angela, a very new tank to the game, the newest one at the moment until Thursday, where we do see Rogue. They do ban the Star-Lord, which is a very good pick, as Cake is hovering it themselves. They ban the Hela on the opposition, just try to stop that anti-heal combination.
Different ideas going through here, and I especially like that you mentioned that lock on Angela, just because CBC banned it away in that last map, so that could be something that truly changes things. On the other side, no real surprise. They've been burned a few times by the Hela, by the Bucky, so take those off the board. One of Cake Chopper's favorite overall heroes to play in the Daredevil will be available. But again, CBC had a lot of trouble on domination the previous time we played it. They weren't able to earn a single %. If that level of domination can stay from the side of PISD, excuse me there, maybe it comes through the penny, which is still on the table.
And they actually go ahead and save Invisible Woman, who, as we noted, is obviously such a strong strategist in the game, but especially into divers. Like the 2 that they did save over on CBC side, they actually go ahead and ban the Moon Knight to make sure that Cake Chopper does not swap over onto it. With the Khonshu having such a big radius, it's very good on these domination maps. They actually go ahead and then ban Penny. Of course, they don't want to go ahead and deal with that versus Dive. But it's curious to know what they're kind of just clicking on through here. I'm wondering if they change it on up because of what they are noticing that Prosper is going to go ahead and use with Cake Chopper's naked Namor, and naked I'm saying without, the team up.
Yeah, it's one of the best in the game, and it's nice when you can get it activated, but at some point, basing kind of your whole composition around it, trying to figure out the pieces and puzzles that fall into place, you can get caught up in sort of the spider webs that come with it. For CBC, the only thing that they've got to know right now is one more map victory, and they will be Division 1 champions. And even if they lose this map, they'll have another chance to get it done. But so far, it has been PISD that has yet to lose the domination, and I gotta say, Knight, it feels like the stakes could not be higher.
They are, and Risky is playing risky with the Hawkeye. He's looking to go ahead and get those headshots and get momentum for PSID as much as possible. As we did say, this is the final game for them at the moment, so it's all on the line right here. The ball is on their court, trying to go ahead and make sure that they get an opportunity against CBC. As Risky is looking for those headshots and finds a couple crucial picks, but is getting them shielded away. We have a bit of aggression over from Angela, trying to go ahead and kidnap the opposing Strange, and does find that pick as they're going to go ahead and get onto the point, being able to push off even the opposing Rocket Raccoon. CBC is down yet another. Gfetti looking to get aggressed on, and unfortunately, it looks like they were trying to portal on the point. CBC is getting flustered. They're looking to have this point for them, but it looks at the moment the Angela is giving them trouble, making it really impossible for them to gather their thoughts and communicate exactly what they need to be doing for this point.
Wasn't only the Angela, I mean, talk about Risky, who it felt like didn't miss a single arrow, was just knocking them straight to the head over and over. Looked like they had earned a triple kill, and they've got the ultimate to boot here. Very quickly activated, already 30% on the point here for Prosper as they fight with the shields. For Flamio, they're going to lose a lot of their front line as the Doctor Strange backs up.
They're trying to go ahead and get over to the corner, but unfortunately get aggressed on by the Angela. Immediately kidnapped before they can go ahead and bubble themselves, as Flamio does fall. And we do have yet another fall with Rocket soon spawning. We do have Strange his life being taken as well. Prosper is doing a great job of holding these corners, and as we said, it's doing great on this domination map.
They're feeling so good when they play out kind of in a more open space, especially now that I feel like they've give Risky Jaeger some more overall ideals into this series, overall more ability to persuade those team fights, and it's just like that. Cake Chopper is sliced down before they can even breathe.
Big shots, and that's what they needed. They needed a bit of cheese, if you will, to go ahead and make sure that they don't have an opportunity on CBC's side to have a counter attack as they go ahead and face Heaven's retribution. But the Eternal Bond is being used perfectly for their team on CBC's side, able to go ahead and stop them from touching and getting off, but unfortunately Magic is almost kidnapped off of the edge, but has plenty of dashes to go ahead and retouch. Horn of Proteus goes off, does not find anyone. We do have an Eternal Bond and Sonic Seduction from Prosper, trying to go ahead and make sure that they just lock down this last point. It's still 99% for Prosper. The Eye of Agamotto is channeled but does not go off, as the Living Chi is being made sure to go ahead and find karmic damage onto the enemy. We do have CBC really trying to go ahead and make sure that they lock down this point, maybe by time for their TP. The two have fallen, and yet another by 4, really laying the hands to the enemy and able to secure it.
Patience is often the name of the game, and for Prosper that time around, it's not only the long-range arrows from Risky, but that Chi, the tank killer, as you mentioned, cuts down the Eye of Agamotto before it actually gets popped. And now all of a sudden, Prosper with one more sub-map win here in map number 4 could send us all the way to a map number 5 into a convoy where things would be decided by just basically a best of 1.
And we do have some changes, as we do have Cake Choppers, of course, Daredevil looking on in, Flamio looking to be on the Venom, as they're noting we cannot wait for them to be at the point. We need to make sure we touch first and force the issue. As long as we're in their face, they should not be able to go ahead and hit us from range. Risky is still playing from with that Hawkeye. So it's going to be all up onto CBD or CBC, apologies again, CBC, to go ahead and touch the point and be as aggressive as possible on Risky.
The only worry for me is, you tried that Venom, they're going to change off of it last time, and it just didn't work on the overall domination. So trying to play that front to back using the shield of the Doctor Strange, it just gets melted. Iron Fist, so good at disrupting frontline tanks, and even though you get one back, immediately snipe back. Risky is firing on all cylinders. 80% charge on the ultimate as they take another name. Mooney tacks on another as Risky pops a triple kill. Full house from them. Prosper has never stopped moving here in this map.
And they do have all their ults actually almost charged up here. And they're in the same position that they were last time, being able to go ahead and build them up, secure it for a nice cheeky percentage, being able to go ahead and hold these corridors. So it's going to be up to CBC to really find these crucial flanks, and Risky's doing a really nice job of holding these corners, making sure that he gets these nice headshots and almost gets jumped by the Daredevil, who will always know where he is because he can see him from a distance. That unique feature is very, very cool from the Daredevil side, as we do have the Dark Child looking to go ahead and jump the actual person that's keeping them off of it with Risky Jaeger, and is now trying to go ahead and touch the point. Can't really see with the invisible boundary. Is desperate to find him and does, as 3-4 fall from Prosper, as CBC finds life and is able to go ahead and touch the point, their first percentage of the entire series of domination.
That's just crazy to say. Prosper has been deadly on these domination maps and modes. And for CBC, they find themselves back into a really good spot, although they invested a ton. Cake Chopper returning to some of that MVP form. And for CBC, definitely not out of this one, but they're not going to get as much percentage as they like before it's time for PISD to run back in for another fight.
And the Magic team up actually making it very difficult for them to go ahead and gather next to each other because of the latch on. But Magic unable to go ahead and find a pick. As they're trying to go ahead and walk in, they're using the Eternal Bond to go ahead and give a carpet for their team, but the Eternal Boundary being used, the Immortal Boundary being used by Flamio, making sure that CBC is not deterred. The Cake Chopper is going ahead to fall almost half HP, but does end up doing so. As I say this, we have another fall on the Strange. We do have Heaven's Retribution being used on the backline as 4 immediately fall for CBC. And Prosper is able to go ahead and get their proper place on the point.
I really love what the strategists have been able to do from PISD throughout the course of this series. It's actually Cal that earns a double kill in that previous fight that really sways things away. Risky has got the ultimate back to boot, and at this point, this is going to be the critical team fight. For CBC, can you find yourself into a sub-map victory, or are we going to all 5 here? Already the Dark Child going to be utilized from Ash QT to try and find some damage. The problem is, you're jumping on an Iron Fist who's got Risky right behind him. Risky trades the 1-for-1 meteor flying from the sky here, and it gets 1. Cal will be stripped down. No real supports to work off of here as Spirit So Based earns another. Still 2 ultimates left to go from CBC, but little do they need them. They'll keep this one back alive.
And they have done so at a very crucial time. Have not progged overtime, but do have a nice 70%. So it's going to be all on one fight here, and do have the ability to go ahead and take that match point from Prosper and actually lock down the whole series as they're trying to go ahead and look for the nice Agamotto over on the enemy. Spirit So Based really trying to find that opportunity as the Devil is let out, making sure that the entire team cannot see. The Eye of Agamotto following suit. We do have the Eternal Bond trying to go ahead and save their team, but two end up falling. Mooney uses Psionic Seduction, but most of it's getting shielded by Spirit So Base. They can't find their way onto the point. They're getting slowed by the invisible boundary from Flamio. They still have another supportal on the Rocket as they do find a choke over on the Invis, who's trying to go ahead and live, but they don't stop as Emma surely falls. Prosper trying to go ahead and reconnect, but they are down to overtime's already been procced for CBC. They're trying to go ahead and TP. They have possibly Fried Pickle trying to touch. One ends up falling, another does so. Risky really trying to find that opening, ends up falling themselves. Three have fallen for Prosper. CBC really trying to lock it down, and it does not happen quite yet. The Dark Child goes out, and then I say so as they do it. They have locked it down for themselves. They have gotten that crucial point, and it's going to the third round.
This one is heating up. Love to see it. The battle back. That late Darkchild usage, we'll have to see if it comes into effect. Because again, percentages carry over. No really big ultimates still available other than the Rocket Raccoon who has theirs. But other than that, you wonder if the Meteor from G-Fetty, who again, subs in from the bench and has just been playing phenomenal on any single role they have picked up. I think the main target is going to be Risky. If you can land a Meteor on either Risky or Fried Pickle, that could completely change this first team fight landscape.
The bubbles have been really, really big as well. Just G-Fetty and just finding the opportunities to go ahead and give those aggressive DPS that he does have, those opportunities to be as aggressive as possible. Trying to go ahead and deal with Mooney's grips on Emma has been very difficult for them up until those points where they do get those shields. Risky really trying to go ahead and find that early opportunity, does find a cute little hope onto the Spirit So Base, who is just also looking for that ult charge, and honestly almost has it as he's trying to go ahead and melee whip and melee weave over to the top. Gets choked by Emma, who ends up getting kicked as well. She ends up falling down the stairs when no one notices. She's trying to make her way back up. It actually just kept right on out and ends up falling because of it. Three have fallen for Prosper, as CBC has actually touched the point first this round, getting a nice solid percentage of 10%, as they actually touched their own enemy base, making sure that they just walk back now.
Yeah, they can play the timing and the spacing now. I mean, AshQT deserves a lot of credit for that fight. Slithers into the back line and takes down two. And now they'll look to fight from the staircase. Again, with the Eye of Agamotto and the Meteor just threatening, ready to go. There are 4 ultimates available on the other side. And in these short corridors, it can make it spicy. Eye of Agamotto looks to only get 1. Risky's gonna pop the vision, but AshQT is already eating well. 5 ultimates available on either side, but somehow both Cake and AshQT survive until I say something. Double kill from Risky. Long-range arrows continue to pester, and PISD will try and fight their way on a wraparound.
It's crucial that they don't use too many ults here because they want to go ahead and have those ults for the point. They already had to go ahead and use one aggressive one to just go ahead and make it up the stairs. They end up using Psionic Seduction and end up having to go ahead and trade the Hawkeye, and actually Namor dies as well without getting off the Horn of Proteus. Fried Pickle looking to walk up with an Asteroid M, but actually just ends up dying themselves, and have used every ult to make it up the stairs, which have not been able to touch. CBC doing a really good job of just mimicking what Prosper was able to do in those previous rounds.
And G-Fetty doubles up on that fight, and all of a sudden, CBC, we were talking about how domination was their worst mode going into this map. They were unable to win submap number 1, but they are on the doorstep of a Division 1 title.
They're looking to go ahead and TP. We do see Spirit looking to do so. Cake Chopper, I'm sorry, Mooney looking to go ahead and do so, as we do have the level Devil going out, trying to go ahead and make sure that this is a free point for themselves, but ends up getting hit by the Horn of Proteus and a huge Eye of Agamotto. Ends up hitting, I believe, 3 there. Risky's the only one alive, but ends up dying at the end there, as the timer ends up going down as well. And it is secured for CBC, who will end up going 3-1 and head to Orlando.
Christian Brothers College High School, your Division I champions for Marvel Rivals. Well deserved and well fought. Obviously, gotta give credit to both of these two teams for obviously fighting as hard as they did, both going 6-1 through the regular season. Both were 2-0 in the playoffs up towards this point. But CBC able to get the job done right at the finish line. And who other than Cake Chopper to earn themselves yet another MVP.
And it's just showing why they wanted to go ahead and save all of his picks over on the first two games. But they noticed that it did not need to go ahead and do so. Just giving that magic over to Ash was enough to go ahead and build time for Cake to also get his own ult off, right? And then them diving in together really made it awkward for the ranged comp of Prosper to go ahead and just counteract them. At the end of the day, it was just a hard fought battle and well done by both teams.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what these two teams are kind of able to build on, because you talk about at the high school level, there's so much structure for them now to continue to improve, continue to grow, and with what they've already showed here today, especially on either side, you can learn and you can grow from it. And, you know, 3-1 doesn't seem as close as it is, but boy, PISD fought really hard in this series, and if it weren't for those last two submaps, and specifically that last team fight that started off that third submap, we could be talking about a game number 5 and a completely different story.
Yeah, and it's just a whole matter of pace. So it's honestly just, again, well done. A few changes here there just need to be done for themselves. But at the end of the day, that was a huge showing. And honestly, I can't wait to go ahead and see them again.
It's going to be exciting to see them perform in Orlando. If you guys want to keep up to date with everything that VHEL has going on, make sure to head over to VHEL.com/ESC-Nationals. That's VHEL.com/ESC-Nationals. It's all your place to get your information on everything high school related here at the Valhalla Esports League. Also, after fall concludes, we'll be announcing a slate of qualified teams, including some that you've seen here today for Marvel Rivals. You will not want to miss it. But with us only having a slight best of 5 here, that is going to wrap us up for the day. We've got some amazing action tomorrow as the Valorant Division 1 Grand Finals will be happening just around the same time at a 7:30 start time. For myself, Llama77, Nightmare, my co-caster, and Edge, our producer in the backline, that is going to do it for us here today. As always, follow all the socials, stay up to date. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.